What's the best way to get a product manager offside? Mention they are just a hyped up project manager. They've both got management in their titles. They both have the same number of letters. They both get people confused sometimes. Surely they must be similar, right? Do you find yourself up late at night contemplating this question? Well, maybe I can help you get that peaceful night's sleep and resolve that lingering question. What's the difference between product and project managers? The mere mention of projects is likely to raise the blood pressure of any good product manager. Why? Because products and projects are very different. If you wanted the quick 1-minute answer, then here it is. A product manager's focus is on a product and the customers or users of that product, which are loosely defined in a product vision. They measure success using customer experience metrics. Everything else like financial metrics, sales, etc. are secondary because, as product folks know, like Kevin Costner once said in that classic movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. In comparison, a project manager's focus is on a set of requirements and how they can best deliver those requirements against targets of cost, time, and defects. Might sound similar, right? Although the measurements might be a little different, both roles are actively involved in the creation of something. That's true, but that's as close as it gets. Once a project is completed, it's mission accomplished for a project manager. They move on to the next project and deliver that, and then continue the cycle until they eventually retire. Whether the project actually met expectations or not, a project manager has effectively done their job if the requirements have been delivered. On the other hand, a product manager never has the same closure. But that's the beauty of the role. The work is never done with a product. A better way of thinking about products is they are a way that we think will meet a customer's needs. So even though we work with a team that works on a set of requirements or user stories, that doesn't mean that once those stories are successfully finished, the work is done. And here is the key difference. Project managers care about a defined set of requirements. Product managers retain an ongoing concern for what customers want, unconstrained by time. Think about the evolution of a car. A project manager would focus on building the 1900s version of the car. A product manager would also likely start there as well. It's only when an executive who holds budget comes along and has a vested interest in creating something better that potentially another project might happen. In contrast, a product manager would see the very first car as just the beginning, and from there would work to increment that first car into a series of better versions based on customer feedback and available technology. Product management is a journey. Project management is a destination. If you want the 6-minute answer, then stick around. Oh, so my answer wasn't good enough for you. Okay, well, bring it on. But before we get this party started, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to click on the subscribe button below. You know the one I'm talking about, right down there. And if you're liking this video so far, well, what are you waiting for? Go and click on that like button. Go on, move that mouse or your finger and just click on it just down there. Now back to the story. Before we get into some of the differences between project and product managers, I think we should start with a history lesson. You'd think that based on the hype that surrounds product management found in the increasing number of courses, books, and experts popping up, that product management is a new phenomenon. There, got it. The truth is, it's not. Procter & Gamble's Neil H. McElroy conceived product management in 1931 with an 800-word memo referred to as the brand men. Still as relevant today, refer to concepts around managing the product, advertising, marketing, right through to experimenting with customers. So still very relevant. Ahead of his time, McElroy went on to become instrumental in founding NASA and playing a role influencing two would-be startup founders, Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard of Hewlett-Packard fame. Focused initially on FCMG or fast-moving consumer goods, the concept and application of the fundamentals of product management soon began to demonstrate value in other industries like technology, but with an emphasis on product positioning and less so on product delivery. It's within technology that arguably the evolution of product management reached a climax and created the type of product manager role that we all associate with, one that combines customer and product delivery. If you've ever worked in technology, you know that given the continually evolving nature of technology capabilities combined with customer trends, understanding customers and delivery are tightly integrated. You just can't separate out customer needs from delivery. Why the history lesson? Well, those that argue that project management has some kind of trump card over this new fad of product management are wrong. It's true that projects have existed since recorded history began. For example, the Great Wall of China was a massive project, but in its modern form, project management is a relatively new concept from the 1950s. We live in a world surrounded by insights, assessments, and measures. And you definitely see this in the world of product and project managers. Product managers are excitable folks, particularly when it comes to launching a new product or a feature. It's pretty common after a product launch to find product managers agonizing over insights on how successful the product is, usually measured in the context of customer reaction. It's kind of like being in mission control post a SpaceX launch. If it went well, there are high fives, and if it didn't go so well, contrast this to the world of project managers. The excitement reaches fever pitch when they get to scrutinize financials, attend steering committees, and maybe have a sherry or two at that post-go-live celebration drinks. It's about as exciting as it gets. Where does this infectious excitement come from with product managers? It's from one thing, a desire to continually deliver customer value. And the best measure of this is customer engagement with a product or feature. Instead of having predefined, financially driven metrics to work with, product managers measure success in terms of utility. So how well is a product meeting customer needs? It could be NPS or Net Promoter Score, or customer satisfaction or CSAT. Irrespective of the measure, we want to know what we've delivered to customers. The theme here tends to be leading indicators. On the other hand, our friends in project management want to know how much money they've spent, how long it's taken, and ultimately when the project can be wrapped up. The theme here tends to be lagging indicators. No matter what your vocation, you carry a compass that sets your direction. In the case of product managers, this compass relies on the two magnetic poles, customer and value. With project managers, the poles are set to time, quality, and cost. That's not to say that product managers aren't diligent when it comes to time, quality, and cost. There's no illusion around the scarcity of resources in product management. That's where the product ownership discipline of backlog prioritization becomes essential. So hard decisions are made throughout the year around what gets shipped, what gets backlogged, and what gets dropped from the backlog. But if you asked a project manager, the one thing they're worried about, and I'm willing to bet on this, is they'll say it's about hitting their dates and budget. They take their measures really seriously. If you asked a product manager that same question, The answer is likely to consist of two words: customer experience. We're both passionate groups of people, but hopefully by now you'll get that product managers are passionate about the customer. Project managers, on the other hand, are passionate about delivery. The two buttons that are guaranteed to create energy for product managers are CX and data. Why? Take a look at this picture from the Development Bank of Singapore, or DBS. DBS decided to uplift their ATM network branding and signage. Looking at the signage, you'd have to agree it looks pretty good, right? It's clear, and the ATMs, well, they look so good that even I'd use them to withdraw cash, even though I'm a digital payments kind of guy. If you were the project manager delivering that project, you'd have to be pretty happy with the result because it looks great. Mission accomplished, and hopefully within budget too. Your next step, move on to your next project. But if this was run as a product, well, it's a different ballgame altogether. As soon as those ATMs are launched, a product manager would dive straight into the data to understand whether customers value what has been delivered. It's lucky for DBS this was run as a product because they found something interesting in their data. Take another look at the DBS ATM picture. Can you see what's wrong? If you haven't figured it out yet, have a look at the signage. This poor signage resulted in some of DBS's extensive ATM network in Singapore being used solely for deposits and the other ATMs being used exclusively for withdrawals. It was only after DBS was able to put the customer experience together with the data they could see the full picture. The signage was misleading and made customers think that certain ATMs were for withdrawals only and others were for deposits. Product managers live on data. Without it, creating good CX is just guesswork. Big picture thinkers. For me, this is the knockout differentiator between project managers and product managers. I've been a project manager, so I know how stressful the role can be at the best of times. You live in a bubble. That bubble is a set of requirements, a project delivery team, and a set of stakeholders. The stress comes in at the start of a project when you haven't even started the real work, yet you're expected to create a plan for something you really don't know much about. After you create a plan based on immature knowledge of the work ahead, well, you're held accountable for it, even though you had no clue on what it would take to deliver the project. But I'm getting into methodologies, and that's a topic for another time. Project managers don't really need to involve themselves too much with the bigger picture of their scope. They generally don't have influence on the why. Instead, they have some influence on the what, which is scope, and significant influence on the how, which is the execution. When it comes to the why and the what, this is where product managers are in their element and keep their teeth sharpened. Product managers spend a significant proportion of their days and weeks researching and understanding the industry and market landscape, addressing trends and creating potential roadmaps for the future. They take the context of their backlog and regularly play it back to this landscape to ensure there's synergy. It may just be that based on the current landscape, some products and features just don't make any sense. But when modeled against a future landscape, these same products and features appear to be innovative and well-timed. But a product manager's picture isn't just the future. It's also about the here and now. Unlike a good project manager who guards their scope like a German shepherd on patrol, a product manager is willing to sacrifice parts of their scope or backlog to accommodate immediate customer needs and a desire to ship something that customers want ASAP. Why? Because products are iterative experiments. No one knows for certain what will work with customers, so it's important to regularly put products and features in front of customers as quickly as possible and plan from there. So there you have it, some of the real differences between product and project managers. By the way, In case you find yourself in a healthy debate over the differences between product and project managers, here's a quick and simple one-sentence approach that should hopefully clarify things for you. Product managers create value in a product, project managers deliver scope. And finally, just because I'm a slightly biased product manager doesn't mean that project managers aren't important in organizations. They can definitely add value in different ways compared to a product manager. Now, if you haven't clicked on that subscribe button, do it now. Every click means you're interested in what I've got to say, so I'll keep working away at these videos. And if you like this video, it will make my day if you click on that trusty thumbs up button just down there. If you didn't like it, well, then leave me some comments so I can understand why. As always, keep being awesome, and I'll catch you soon.